Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video. Finally back with part 2 of my rather strangely titled March to the Very Victory, as I called it. Me and my punctuational habits, my punctuation and general habits, or whatever. Anyway, sorry, try not to waffle. Yeah, so I want to talk about some of my plans which I had for March. I did initially plan to do so on either the eve of March or on the first day of March itself, but anyway, it's a little bit later than planned. But I can't think of what else I was going to say in my intro. But anyway, I hope you like this, and I hope you check out part 1 if you haven't already done so, and look out for part 3 when it comes out. I'll be really appreciative of your support. And again, I hope you enjoy this and share it and like the video and support my channel as much as possible. Again, I really appreciate it. And yeah, so here goes. As I say, in part 1, I talked about points 1 to 10, some of my plans for, in terms of my plans for March. So I'm going to continue on from there. So number 11, I mainly hope to help empower Indigenous people from Australasia, to put it simply. Aborigines, Maori, Aborigines, Torres and Strait Pacific Islanders, or how to pronounce it, and Maoris. I hope to find out more about them and listen to their goals and things like that. And I thought of a strange sort of acronym for this group, so I normally like to put it in this order now, but Aborigines, Torres and Strait Pacific Islanders, or how to pronounce it again, and Maoris, because it's like ATM, but not that I hope to make money from them, but I hope to help them to make money, if that makes sense. But yeah, I thought of an idea like the New Deal for Indigenous people from Australasia, Indigenous people from Australasia. So hopefully uniting them together to help them to support and empower each other as much as possible, and like looking at their political rights and encouraging as many and supporting as many of them as possible to learn about politics and be supported in areas like politics, lobbying, working together, becoming politicians, working for the police so that they get more legal rights and protection, because that will make it harder for police, hopefully, to discriminate against them, so that hopefully they won't have as much discrimination, and they'll be able to support and empower each other, and hopefully encourage them to be empowered to not break laws or things like that. Because I know, due to the problems they face, there's a lot, unfortunately, who go into drug addiction and crime and alcohol addiction and things like that. So I think it'd be great to support them and empower them as much as possible. And again, like, I think more politicians, more Indigenous people from Australasia becoming politicians, police, people who work within the law, maybe like environmental ministers. Like me personally, I'd love to see the Prime Minister being an Indigenous Australasian or whatnot, but maybe that's a long way down the line. But yeah, things like that. So I hope to help like the New Deal for Indigenous people from Australasia and hopefully empower them. One of the things is to listen to them, because my ideals might not be necessarily what they would want. So I'd love to listen to them and listen to what they want as well. So I hope that made sense. So that's point number 11. And I'd love to support, I nearly forgot to say, they're inventors, ideas people, innovators, and love to support them to become investors, entrepreneurs, YouTubers, and all sorts of things like that. And support their tourism industry as well. Number 12, I'd love to support disadvantaged groups generally, like, as I say, Indigenous people from Australasia, but also disabled people, people with physical, mental, or learning disabilities, and hopefully inspire them and like hopefully improve myself as well, like my physique, my weight, and all that. Like work on my exercise and my diet and things like that. So it will be difficult because I'm a creature of habit, but I hope to work on those things. And hopefully, if I do it, I can inspire other people. So if I can do it, anyone can. And but yeah, I'd love to make like the Indigenous Australasian Empowerment Network. Or plan as well, Indigenous Australasian Empowerment Plan, I actually meant to say, but also a network and things like that, or it could also work as a network. So I hope to cover that hopefully tomorrow or ASAP, to talk about the Indigenous Australasian Empowerment Plan, again, working as a network and things like that, to network them together, and also the things like maybe like the Disabled Empowerment Plan, Dyslexic Empowerment Plan and things like that, or Neurodiversity Empowerment Plan. And on that note, one of the ways to empower yourself is perhaps by empowering others. So uplifting others, hopefully, will help you be empowered yourself. So I know that's a bit sort of corny perhaps, but I think that's a great way to be empowered, is to uplift others. So maybe encouraging people with neurodiversity to share our ideas and to support Indigenous people from Australasia and that sort of thing. Number 13, hopefully I'll address some of the issues I face with my ideas, or just generally, and some of the problems I have, and also Indigenous people from Australasia again, and other groups, I'll say. And I think, like, unfortunately, there's things like a lot of alcohol problems, drug problems, smoking and things like that, and also suicidal attempted suicides and things like that amongst Indigenous people from Australasia. And I think it would be good to tackle those problems and help them to be empowered, and maybe find a purpose, like maybe do stuff like help Indigenous people from Australasia to empower each other, or plant trees, or work on the environment, which will give them a purpose, which will hopefully help them to feel better. So on that note, number 14, I hope to address and solve a lot of problems that Indigenous people face as much as possible, and that sort of thing. Number 15, I would love to listen to people's aspirations. Like, I'd love to, in the comment section, maybe people from disadvantaged backgrounds, disabled people, people with physical, mental, or learning disabilities, people who are victims of abuse of any kind, or bullying, or well, which is a type of abuse, or people, again, from Indigenous, Australasian, or Native American, or whatever other such communities which often face disadvantage. I'd love to hear if you are from those backgrounds and you watch this video, stumble across this video, I hope this will inspire you, and I'd love to hear your aspirations and goals for the future, and dreams and things like that. So I'd love to hear how I can, or others can, help you to believe in yourself and believe in your communities and your dreams and things like that, and each other, and say network together and connect together, and hopefully be empowered to fulfill your potential and work on your aspirations to achieve more than you think you can, to aim higher and things like that. Number 16, as ever, I'd love to hear other people's ideas and thoughts about what are the best ways to empower disabled or Indigenous Australasian people, or other groups of disadvantaged people generally, and also, like, just hopefully hear some interesting ideas. It'd be great to see, to read some interesting ideas or whatnot, and maybe this video can inspire other people to make videos like that, talking about empowering each other and making the world a better place. So I welcome those, and please do share links of your videos as well, or whatnot. Hopefully I'll hear some interesting ideas. And nearly forgot what I was going to say, which is that I would love to, as I say, to hear from Indigenous people from Australasia and around the world, or Native Americans or people like that, and also disabled people and other groups of disadvantaged or often disadvantaged groups, and how they can go from being victims or oppressed people to become victorious and have a strong, from the victim mindset to the bulldog mindset. I'm sort of, I don't want to get in trouble with copyright because someone already used that, but using their term. Generally, like, I'd love to hear from your ambitions and your ideals. Like, so if I say something, you think that there's a better way to empower people, I'd love to hear. Or if you think that your community needs, as say, if you're from an Indigenous Australasian community and you think your community needs different ways of support that I might not have thought of, I'd love to hear from you again. Number 17, I'd love to support Indigenous people from Australasia in areas like STEM, as I say, YouTube, entrepreneurship, inventing, investing, and I'd love to see in the future things that I never thought would be possible. Number 18, I'd love to hear about Indigenous people from Australasia who have become famous or successful in their chosen field and who have done well, and what strengths and positives there are from Indigenous people from Australasia, and what we can learn from such communities, as well as I say, disabled people or other groups, about overcoming your challenges and taking on those sorts of challenges, and also what we can learn about looking after the environment from Indigenous history, like what we can learn from history of how Indigenous people throughout time from Australasia and Native Americans learn to look after nature and things like, again, what we can learn today about those sorts of things, and tackling greed and whatever else. Number 19, again, I'd love to help Indigenous people from Australasia as well as people from Africa in terms of like things like software programming, software development, or programming or coding or things like that, and different networks to come together. So like people who support African programmers and coders and software developers and things like that to work together to support each other. And number 20, I think it'd be great if people who are older and who have expertise or experience, is the word I'm looking for, or knowledge and things like that, can pass it on to younger people and look at what we can teach the younger generations for the future. And I think youth are the future, so it'd be great to empower the youth and that sort of thing. So anyway, sorry this video went on a bit long, and I'm out. Peace and love.